Humanity lives on a precipice. Our planet faces unprecedented threats. The specter of nuclear war looms large. Climate change unleashes devastating consequences. AI poses existential risks if left unchecked. Pandemics remind us of our vulnerability. The Doomsday Clock symbolizes our proximity to catastrophe. Today it stands at 89 seconds to midnight. We must act now to turn back the clock. The Doomsday Clock was born in 1947, a mere 2 years after the atomic age began. Created by Manhattan Project scientists, it was a response to the nuclear threat. Initially set at 7 minutes to midnight, it reflected the urgency to prevent nuclear war. The clock's setting has changed 24 times, reflecting global threats. Climate change and AI are now major concerns. The Doomsday Clock is a barometer of existential risk. It highlights the interconnectedness of global threats. The threat of nuclear war, the original impetus for the Doomsday Clock, has unfortunately not receded into the annals of history. While the end of the Cold War brought a period of relative calm, the threat of nuclear annihilation remains a chilling reality in the 21st century. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, marked by heightened tensions and bellicose rhetoric, has reignited fears of a nuclear escalation. The potential for miscalculation or accidents, coupled with the erosion of arms control treaties, has created a volatile and dangerous environment. Furthermore, the nuclear ambitions of North Korea and Iran continue to be a source of global concern. The development and testing of nuclear weapons by these nations, in defiance of international sanctions and condemnation, highlights the challenges of non-proliferation and the persistent threat of nuclear terrorism. The destructive power of nuclear weapons is unparalleled, capable of causing widespread death, destruction, and long-term environmental damage. The detonation of even a single nuclear weapon would have catastrophic consequences, not just for the immediate target, but for the entire planet. The risk of nuclear winter, a period of prolonged darkness and cold caused by the massive amounts of soot and debris injected into the atmosphere following a nuclear exchange, further underscores the existential threat posed by these weapons. Climate change, once a distant threat, has become a present-day reality. The Earth's average temperature is rising at an alarming rate, primarily due to human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels for energy. The consequences of this warming are being felt around the world, from rising sea levels and more frequent and intense heat waves to changes in precipitation patterns and increased droughts and floods. The impacts of climate change are not just environmental, but also social, economic, and political. Rising sea levels threaten coastal communities and infrastructure, while extreme weather events can displace populations, disrupt agricultural production, and exacerbate existing inequalities. The competition for scarce resources, such as water and arable land, could lead to conflict and instability. Despite the overwhelming scientific consensus on climate change and its human causes, there is still a lack of political will to address this issue with the urgency it demands. The continued reliance on fossil fuels, deforestation, and unsustainable agricultural practices are pushing the planet closer to a tipping point, beyond which the consequences of climate change could be irreversible. Section 5. The Algorithmic Threat. Artificial intelligence, while holding immense potential for good, also presents significant risks if not developed and deployed responsibly. The rapid advancement of AI technologies, coupled with the lack of adequate oversight and regulation, has raised concerns about the potential for misuse and unintended consequences. One of the most pressing concerns is the potential for AI to be used in autonomous weapons systems, also known as killer robots. These weapons, capable of selecting and engaging targets without human intervention, raise serious ethical and legal questions. Their deployment could lower the threshold for conflict, making wars more likely to occur and potentially leading to unintended escalation. Another concern is the potential for AI to exacerbate existing societal biases. AI systems are trained on massive data sets, and if these data sets reflect existing biases, the AI systems will perpetuate and even amplify them. This could have profound implications for areas such as criminal justice, employment, and access to credit, further marginalizing already disadvantaged groups. Furthermore, the rise of AI-powered disinformation and propaganda poses a significant threat to democracy and social cohesion. Deepfakes, for example, are highly realistic but fabricated videos that can be used to spread misinformation, sow discord, and undermine trust in institutions. The proliferation of such technologies could have a chilling effect on free speech and make it increasingly difficult to distinguish truth from falsehood. Section 6. Pandemics, a familiar foe. The COVID-19 pandemic, which swept across the globe in 2020, served as a stark reminder of humanity's vulnerability to infectious diseases. The pandemic exposed the fragility of our healthcare systems, the interconnectedness of our world, and the devastating consequences of misinformation and inequality. While the worst of the pandemic appears to be behind us, the threat of future pandemics remains a real and present danger. The factors that contribute to the emergence and spread of infectious diseases such as deforestation, climate change, and the increasing interaction between humans and wildlife are not going away. Moreover, the deliberate misuse of biotechnology, whether by state actors or terrorist groups, could lead to the release of engineered pathogens with the potential to cause widespread death and disruption. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the importance of robust public health infrastructure, international cooperation, and timely and accurate information in responding to such threats. Section 7. A World Adrift. The Convergence of Threats. The threats facing humanity in the 21st century are not isolated challenges, but rather interconnected and mutually reinforcing. Climate change, for example, can exacerbate existing tensions over resources, leading to conflict and displacement, which in turn can increase the risk of nuclear proliferation. The proliferation of misinformation and disinformation, fueled by social media and AI-powered algorithms, can undermine trust in institutions, erode social cohesion, and hamper our ability to address complex global challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated how quickly misinformation can spread, with devastating consequences. The convergence of these threats creates a complex and volatile global landscape, one in which the risk of catastrophic events is higher than ever before. Addressing these challenges requires a fundamental shift in our thinking and our actions. It demands a recognition of our interconnectedness, a commitment to international cooperation, and a willingness to prioritize long-term well-being over short-term gains. Section 8. Turning back the clock, a collective responsibility. The Doomsday Clock is not a prophecy, but a call to action. It is a reminder that our future is not predetermined, but rather shaped by the choices we make today. Turning back the clock, moving away from the precipice of disaster, requires a collective effort from individuals, governments, and institutions around the world. We must prioritize diplomacy and dialogue over aggression and conflict. Nuclear disarmament should be a global imperative, with renewed efforts to strengthen existing treaties and prevent the proliferation of these weapons of mass destruction. Addressing climate change requires a rapid transition to a low-carbon economy. This includes investing in renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and promoting sustainable consumption and production patterns. International cooperation is essential to ensure that all countries, particularly those most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, have the resources and support they need to adapt. The development and deployment of AI must be guided by ethical principles and subject to appropriate oversight and regulation. We must ensure that AI is used for good, to address global challenges and improve human well-being, rather than exacerbating existing inequalities or posing new threats. Strengthening global health security is essential to prevent and respond to future pandemics. This includes investing in public health infrastructure, improving surveillance and early warning systems, and promoting international cooperation in research and development. Section 9. A time for action, a time for hope. The challenges facing humanity are daunting, but they are not insurmountable. We have the knowledge, the resources, and the capacity to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. What we need now is the political will, the moral courage, and the collective action to make it happen. The Doomsday Clock is a stark reminder of the urgency of our situation, but it is also a symbol of hope. It tells us that we still have time, however limited, to change course. Every second counts. Let us use this time wisely, to build a future where the Doomsday Clock is a relic of the past, a testament to humanity's ability to overcome even the greatest of challenges. Let us work together, with a shared sense of purpose and urgency, to create a world where all people can thrive, now and for generations to come.